30 seconds, okay. Better get one last sip of water.
Yeah, it's not a pretty glass.
Welcome to the May 2022 Mayor's Update. My guest this month is Jessica Wright, who is the city's HR director, and she will be talking with us about some things going on in the city and her position a little later on. It's been a busy month for staff and elected officials, and we'll get to that, but I need to start today on a very somber note. And I think we're all aware that in the last 2 weeks, there have been 2 mass shootings in the United States. And this week, there was a mass shooting at a school in Uvalde, Texas. Uvalde, Texas is a town of perhaps about 15,000, 16,000 people, just a little bit larger than the city of Spencer. 19 little children and 2 adults were just savagely massacred in that shooting. And I think that we can all, as citizens, understand, but certainly not comprehend the pain, the suffering, the grief that the people and the families of those victims in Uvalde are experiencing right now. Our thoughts and prayers are certainly with the people of Uvalde, Texas. Now, I think, and I don't mean this to be a political statement whatsoever, but it may be that taken in that light with some people. But on the local level, basically when we see problems and we have concerns, we put aside our partisan differences, and we are elected as nonpartisan elected officials. We put those any kind of partisanship aside and come together, and what we try to do is we try to solve the problems. We talk about the problems, we may disagree, but ultimately we find a solution. This issue of the mass shootings is not a local issue, it's a national issue. And it has to be dealt with at we also want to enhance commercial activity. We also asked the DOT for data with regard to other options other than a roundabout. The roundabout seems to be the option that the DOT would like us to have up there. And what we asked them is, we know that there, according to the DOT, there are not roundabouts on 4-lane highways in Iowa. However, there are roundabouts on 4-lane highways in Wisconsin and Minnesota and Illinois, places like that. So what we want is, we would like to have the DOT gather for us data with regard to the safety of those intersections pre-roundabout and then post-roundabout. So we're looking forward to hearing from the DOT soon with regard to the letter that we sent. Secondly, the emerald ash borer is another issue that continues to be on the forefront for the city. And under the leadership of Parks Director Jared Elbert, the city has developed, I think, a pretty good plan to put in place for concerning this issue. We've identified 2,000 plus trees in the city right away, in parks, cemeteries, the golf course, and we are going to have a plan for removing those trees. Now, concerning the right-of-way, what Jared has done, what the city has done, is identified those areas in the right-of-way that are strategic, that are on safe routes to school and so forth, that need to be dealt with right away. Letters will be going out to homeowners who have ash trees in the right-of-way, and homeowners will have two options if they have an ash tree in the right-of-way. Number one, they will be able to treat that tree if they want to keep it. They can try and treat it at their expense. And what we ask them to do is to use a certified applicator and notify City Hall. City Hall will have a list of those people who are certified to make those kinds of applications. And then secondly, with regard to the ash trees in the right-of-way, if the homeowner does not want to treat it at their expense, then the city will be removing those trees. The other thing with regard to the emerald ash borer that I think is important for the community to understand, and they may have already seen this, and that is the sign out at the grass and leaf site, and there will be no harvesting of wood anymore at this time. And the reason for that is, we don't want people who are disposing of ash trees, or when the city is disposing of the ash trees out there, we don't want them harvesting the ash trees and possibly carrying them to other locations and so forth, and spreading the disease to other places. Thirdly, the railroad crossing on Grand Avenue has been an issue over the past week and a half or so. The weather hasn't been great for them to get that project completed, but my understanding is that they are making very good progress, and I think they're paving today. And if the weather cooperates, that intersection should be open maybe later today and tomorrow for sure. So hopefully that's going to get done quickly here, and I really want to thank all the citizens of Spencer for having patience with this project, and also for finding alternate routes. I haven't noticed a lot of disruption within the community with regard to that, and it seems to be going quite well. Next, just a brief mention with regard to an issue that has been talked about a lot in a very good way, and that's TJ Maxx. And TJ Maxx is coming to Spencer. It will be located in the old Staples building, and thanks to Bill Muller for developing that project. He was the one who did the legwork with the cooperation, a little bit of the city with regard to that. And in talking to Bill, depending on supply chain issues and things of that sort, TJ Maxx hopes to open probably in October sometime, but again, it depends on a lot of factors. The fifth thing I'd like to mention today is that at the last council meeting, the city purchased 5+ acres of property on Highway 71 north of Schoenemans. And basically the goal in buying that particular property was to, I think, first of all, put in a street, develop infrastructure in that area. And what it will do is it will help to develop that prime piece of property, and also it will allow us to help develop future development on the west side of that, and also hopefully it will provide a corridor to 4th Avenue West, which will provide more access to that particular area for commercial development and also open things up for the Clay County Fair. Then a few other things that the council approved, and I'm just going to list these. This is what few things that we did in May. It's certainly not an exhaustive list, but a few of the things that the council did. First of all, we approved the purchase of equipment for the Spencer Municipal Golf Course that was much needed. We approved the purchase of a street sweeper. We approved the change in the job description for retiring city clerk Teresa Reardon. We passed the first filing of the solid waste and wastewater rates. There will be more to come on that particular topic in the June mayor's update. And we approved a couple of contracts with Cruz Kate and Nelson. One is with regard to the bridge stabilization with regard to West Leach Park and the library roof replacement project. The library starting to show its age a little bit. Seventh, last week I had the honor of signing a proclamation for National Poppy Day. And National Poppy Day is tomorrow, May 27th. I was out at the American Legion with the American Legion Auxiliary to sign that proclamation. They'll be selling poppies on Friday at the following locations: Sisters, Fairway, Hy-Vee, the post office, and Bomgaars. And just want to note that all of the proceeds from the sale of those poppies will go to help veterans in the community. And in conjunction with National Poppy Day, we celebrate Memorial Day this weekend. Originally, back in 1866, Memorial Day was noted as Decoration Day, and it was came about to honor those who had died during the Civil War. Today, what we do is we traditionally honor those veterans who have passed away. Spencer's Memorial Day celebration will be this Monday, starting with a parade at 9:30 down West 4th Street with a program to start at 10 o'clock. The speaker will be Brent Patel. Now, those of you who have been to the Memorial Day celebration at Riverview Cemetery before know that it's really a spectacular sight to behold. The Avenue of Flags, over 1,500 flags representing veterans who have died, is just an incredible sight. This year, 20 flags will be dedicated to the Avenue of Flags. It's a very, very impressive sight and a very impressive ceremony. To that end, the people who are in charge of that, I believe Rick Dean has been the workhorse on this for many years. They need some help tonight at 6 o'clock to locate the sites for the holes where the flags go out at Riverview Cemetery. So if you're available and you can help out at 6 o'clock tonight at Riverview Cemetery, they would appreciate that. Also, volunteers are needed on Monday at 7 a.m. to set up the flags at North Lawn Cemetery as well as Riverview Cemetery. And then volunteers are also needed at 7 p.m. to take down the flags. I'd also like to mention that on Memorial Day at 3 p.m., and this is due to a resolution that was passed by Congress back in 2000, at 3 p.m. on Memorial Day, it is suggested that people take time and have a moment of silence to honor those veterans who have passed away. And also, it has become somewhat of a tradition for people at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Memorial Day to play taps. So you can honor the veterans on Memorial Day in either by honoring them with a moment of silence, or you can go out in your front yard or your backyard with whatever instrument you may play and play taps to honor those veterans. And then lastly, I want to announce, and this is always a good sign of summer, that the Aquatic Center is opening on June 1st at noon. So quite a few things going on in the city, and we've got a busy June coming up. It always seems like when I was on the council that I always thought, well, this summer we kind of slow down a little bit with city business, but I don't think that's going to be happening. I think we've got a full plate of activities ahead for June and July. So maybe August we'll get to take a little bit of a break. I'm not sure. So at this time, it's my pleasure to turn the program over to Jessica Wright, who's our Human Resources Director for the City of Spencer. And her position was created by the council last year. I think she just celebrated her 1-year anniversary with the city. And I've asked Jessica to come in and talk about what an HR director actually does, how her position helps the city of Spencer, but also to talk a little bit about employment for the city of Spencer, some of the challenges that she has in filling positions for the city of Spencer, but also how working for the city of Spencer can be a very good thing. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Jessica.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate being here. Even though I don't like to talk in front of people, I'll do it for you. I just love my job as HR director. I feel like it was a perfect time to come in, and it was really needed for the city organization. One of the telltale signs that an organization needs human resources is when you pass that 50 employee mark, and we were at 89 full-time and 55 part-time with our seasonals on staff. That puts us right around 144 right now. So I would imagine that before my position was added, especially Teresa Reardon as the city clerk that was heading up a lot of the human resource duties, was very, very busy, having to also do the city clerk position duties. So it really fell to each department head as well to handle the human resource tasks that I do now for each of their departments. So when I came in, it was, I hope, a relief to the department heads. That was my goal, certainly. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and it gives a great deal of satisfaction to be able to help with things like employee relations, performance management, and coaching. The department heads use me as a resource to work through anything from filling a position, which we do have a number of positions open that I'll go through in a few minutes, but filling those positions, bringing performance levels up where they could use maybe some communication help. Sometimes, they need mediation, or we've opened a number of new positions. So creating position job descriptions, knowing employment law, regulations and compliance, things like ADA compliance, FMLA, handling the benefit administration. Right now is open enrollment, so I'm swamped with paperwork, which oddly I like paperwork, so it doesn't bother me, but I would imagine it would be a lot to do if I was running a police department or the fire department or, having to be city clerk. So I appreciate them letting me come on board and help them out. Another thing that I do every year and on an ongoing basis is look at what we can do better as an organization and as a leadership team. The department heads are so strong that I am very fortunate to be able to just help them where they want me to help them, support them in growing their staff, their leadership skills, and really hone those, which is something that I really like to do. Again, working on the communication is always important. As an employer, we have a very high standard of performance and ethics. So we really screen our employees to make sure that they are the best fit for the job. I would say for each open position, I typically get anywhere from 30 to 50 resumes or applications, not necessarily qualified for the job, but wanting a job with the city, and who can blame them? I mean, we have wonderful benefits, and I encourage anyone and everyone to apply for anything that you're interested in because skills are often very translatable into other positions. Some of the benefits that we offer as a city organization is IPERS. So that's the Iowa Public Employees Retirement System. It is not dependent on the ebb and flow of the stock market. It is a defined benefit plan. So its benefit is that you are guaranteed a monthly lifetime retirement benefit based on your years of service and what your salary was within a time frame prior to retirement. So that's a fabulous benefit. People will call and say, what do you have open? I just want to stay on IPERS or move to an employer that has IPERS because they start thinking, maybe I want to retire someday. So some other benefits that we have for municipal, fire, and police employees that qualify for that, anyone in the emergency personnel category, they have a different retirement system that actually does pay them a higher level of benefit and disability benefits. Since they don't pay into Social Security, it provides them let's see, the standard is 9.44 contribution by employees and the employer 15.73, but for the fire and police personnel, it goes to 9.4% for employees, and the employer pays in 26.18%. So that's a great benefit for your future. And so I would encourage you, if you're thinking about a career in law enforcement or fire, a good place to start with the fire is to volunteer. We often draw our fire personnel when we do have openings from our volunteers because they already have some experience in that position. So, and for police, I can't stress enough how wonderful our police force is. I really enjoy them as people and appreciate them as our own brothers and sisters that want to take care of our community, and respect their work greatly. And they should have that retirement that guarantees that if they're hurt in the line of duty, that they have that little bit extra to retire on. So. We also offer a 457 retirement plan. It acts as a 401k plan. It's the same kind of thing where you pay in, and it is dependent on the market, so you can invest that. We have 2 well-marked Blue Cross Blue Shield medical insurance plans, $500 deductible and a $2,500 deductible, and the premiums are very low, can't get lower than free for employee-only coverage on that, and it's something that the city, really the council, invests in every year. They purchase the plan at a higher rate, and we're self-funded, so we put in the funds to bring that plan down to a low premium for our employees because it's very important that they have the care that they need when they need it. Delta Dental and Vision is pretty standard and low employee premiums, as well as we just increased our life insurance premiums from 10,000, I'm not premiums, coverage, from 10 to 50,000. So that's a benefit that we added this year. And then also supplemental insurance through our carrier. So those are just some things that are keeping me busy on the benefit side. just run through a few things. I don't think I want to talk too long here. This is not the HR update, it's the mayor's update. I work with Public Works Director and the SHIELD agency on keeping our employees safe across the organization, maintain the OSHA and employee compliance training records, do the workers' compensation administration, follow those claims closely to maximize the return to work benefits, getting our employees back into their positions so that they can go back to full pay while minimizing the cost to the city. So in a way, I see HR as filling the gap between what the employer expects from their employees and the requirements and the high performance standards, and what the employee needs in their life and their life-work balance, and what they're looking for in an employer that has high standards and high ethics. I fill that gap. I protect the organization interests and the costs while maximizing what we can do for our employees. And I would say we have a fabulous group. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jessica. Just a couple of things. Do you know, it seems to me we have a lot of employees throughout the city that have been with the city for quite a long period of time.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I don't know what the statistics are of the 89 full-time and employees, but it just seems to me that city employees tend to stay.
Yes, retention is huge with the city. I tease Teresa Reardon, our city clerk, because one of the first things she told me when I took the position was, don't worry, we don't have very many openings because there's very low turnover. And she was very right. We just happen to have a few retirements just right in a line. So, and we have a couple coming up at the end of the year, so it gives the opportunity, and we always equally recruit external as well as open it up for internal candidates to either transfer or gain promotion. So while we don't have a lot of openings, we do have several, and many come from just retiring because they have been here so long, and that's great.
And to me, it seems like that's a testament to a couple of things. One are salary and benefits, but also if an employee feels respected and feels part of a team, they're more likely to remain on the job.
Absolutely, and that's one of, I consider it my primary responsibility is employee relations. And just, I care about each individual, and if they come in, from the street department and they have a question, and, I'll stop what I'm doing every time and talk to them about what can I do, what questions do you have, what do you need. It's a great group, and absolutely, because we see them as individual people and not just numbers.
Exactly. Well, I'd like to thank Jessica for coming in today and sitting in and being the guest in the mayor's update. Easy for me to say.
Say that 5 times.
No, thank you. But on a personal note, Jessica has helped me on a number of issues already, and we're continuing to work on a couple right now. So it's all good. So at any rate, that sums up the mayor's update. And in closing, as always, I would like to remind everyone to take care and do good. Thank you. Thanks again.
You're welcome.